worst date I ever had was when a guy asked me out, but then he asked me to drive us to the restaurant because he didn't have a car. I didn't really like that, so I was like, oh, let's go to Chipotle. But then when we got to Chipotle, he didn't pay for my dinner. And when we sat down, all he could talk about was him partying and getting drunk all the time. And that was just a no-no.
I need to go to the bathroom.
But the bathroom's over there.
I know.
So one day, my friend asked me to go see a movie with her and her friends. So I said, okay, and then once I got to the movie theater, I saw these two really, really tall guys, and I was like, I've never met these ones before, and I've never heard of them before, so this will be interesting. And it was only at the end of the movie did I realize she actually set this up as a double date. So it wasn't really the worst date for me, but probably the worst date for my date. Oops.
So, I haven't really been on many dates to tell you what exactly I find to be like a terrible date or whatever. So instead, what I would constitute as a bad date for me would be when a guy is trying to get into my pants rather than putting forth the effort to genuinely get to know me first. You feel me? You better not feel me on my first date!
Okay, my worst date is every time I go and get coffee with Caitlin because it's the worst. I'm just kidding. I love you. Don't hurt me.
So my worst date. I haven't been on a lot of dates, so like my worst date has to be my very first date. And we were gonna watch a horror movie, but it ran out of tickets by the time we got there, so we ended up watching a different movie. That was the only movie that was playing at the time and still had tickets, which was Ghost Riders with Nicolas Cage, and it was a really bad movie with terrible effects and everything. And it was just really awkward because it was my first date, and that's it.
So I got coffee with this girl one time, and she ended up like spilling it like all over her like white pants that she was wearing. And it's one thing if like you do something really embarrassing to yourself in public to embarrass yourself, but it's a totally different story if the person you're with embarrasses themselves, and it's just really awkward, and you just really don't know what to do, and I didn't know what to do at all.
So this week we're talking about our worst dates, and I think that mine would have to be one of my first ones that I went on, because number one, we were both too young to have a license or a car, so his mom had to drive us, and we went to see a movie, and it was super awkward because we both missed the first half of the movie because we were both doing the awkward thing where we wanted to hold hands but we didn't know how to do it yet. So it was probably the worst because it was so awkward, and I really hate awkwardness, so it was just like the whole time. So yeah.
So I never really had a really bad date. I guess I could use the one time where it was our first date and I got really excited, and I get dressed up and I wear a skirt and everything, and he just took me to the mall and we walked around and my feet hurt, and he bought me Chick-fil-A, and yeah, safe to say we fell in love.
Hey guys, so I haven't really been on any awkward dates, but my first date, it just so happens that Janelle was there too because her best friend was my girlfriend at the time, and
so technically it was my most awkward date because it wasn't even a date.
So yeah, there you go.
Okay, so my worst date ever was, wait, let me think about it. Just kidding. I'm gonna be forever alone, man. Yeah.
I don't know why you're talking like this.
But then, now, guess what? She asked me on a Valentine's date, and now we're driving to go get somebody else a present, man. Life sucks.
Oh my god.
Bye.
Hey, so my worst date was last year. I went out with this guy. He took me to Miyapa and then a movie. We went to see Wreck-It Ralph. The problem was one, he rode a scooter,
So I had to like sit on the back of his scooter that night. And then the second thing was he just didn't stop talking about himself, and he wouldn't stop talking through dinner, wouldn't stop talking through the movie, and it was just a really awkward and uncomfortable situation to be in.
So I don't really go on dates. It's not really my thing. But if there was ever one date that went bad, I guess it was this one guy last year asked me to hang out, or whatever you want to call it. And so we went to get boba, and then at the end, I ended up paying for the bill. And so afterwards, we talked about high school or something. But nevertheless, needless to say, it was a very boring date, hangout session, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, needless to say, we never dated, and there's probably a reason to it. But happy Valentine's Day, guys. Spend it with your loved ones.